Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I acknowledge we're gathered here on the traditional territory of Treaty 6, and I recognize the Métis people who share a deep connection to this land. My name is Rakhi Pancholi, and I'm the Alberta NDP candidate for Edmonton-Whitemud, as well as the former official opposition critic for Children's Services. I'm joined here today by Carrie Howe in her beautiful home. And we're all very excited to be here today because we're talking about childcare, something that I am deeply and incredibly passionate about. As working moms, we know that affordable and quality childcare is about our kids. It's about giving them the opportunity for the best start in life, preparing them for school, and making sure that they can learn through play. But it's also about supporting parents, especially mothers like Carrie, who want to work and pursue their careers and raise their families. Without affordable and quality childcare that works for families, our plans to grow and diversify our economy will exclude too many parents, especially women. 2 years ago, the UCP canceled Alberta's first affordable quality childcare program, the $25 per day childcare pilot program that was brought in by Rachel Notley and the Alberta NDP. The UCP had no plans to replace it with any new childcare program for working parents and young children, until the federal government came forward with billions of dollars for childcare in Alberta. And even then, the UCP dragged their feet to sign the agreement with the federal government to deliver $10 per day childcare in Alberta. The UCP only went forward with it because Albertans raised their voices and pushed them to sign that agreement. Since then, the UCP have made a mess of the implementation of this childcare program. They have failed to deliver on their promise to create 10,000 new nonprofit childcare spaces. They've created less than half of that. Meanwhile, thousands of Alberta parents remain on wait lists, trying to access affordable quality childcare so they can go back to work or school. The UCP have also excluded the thousands of Alberta families that use before and after school care from their affordability childcare program. This means that some of these families are paying more for 1 to 2 hours of care than they would be paying for a full day of childcare. And earlier this year, the UCP released their cost control framework for childcare, which will allow for parents to be charged extra fees for things that should be part of any quality childcare program, things like meals and snacks and field trips and special programming. This means that under the UCP and under Danielle Smith, Alberta parents will never pay only $10 per day for childcare. Alberta families have paid a high price for the UCP's political games, and they know that the UCP has never been committed to building an affordable, quality childcare program for all Alberta families. Danielle Smith is more interested in her hidden agenda than helping Albertans with the problems that they face today. The Alberta NDP, led by Rachel Notley, is focused on doing better for you and better for Alberta families. We're focused on providing trusted leadership and delivering on what matters to you. That's why I'm thrilled today to announce that a Rachel Notley government will not wait until 2026 to deliver $10 per day childcare to Alberta families. We will deliver it for Alberta families by the end of 2024. And we'll expand the program to include before and after school care too. Because you know what? Parents don't suddenly get to change their working hours once their kids go to school. And we need more childcare spaces to become available much sooner so that parents can stop paying for the UCP's political games. Our accelerated timeline means kids will get the quality early learning and childcare they need close to home. It means parents can spend less time driving across town for the only available spaces and spend more time with their children. It means they won't be stuck having to choose between accessing childcare and furthering their careers, all by the end of next year. An Alberta NDP government will enable flexible childcare options so childcare works when you do. With your help and your vote, a better future is just around the corner. I urge Alberta families looking for help and a better future from a government they can trust to get out and vote. Advance polls are open. A better future is truly possible. I'm going to pass things over now to Carrie so she can share what our commitment means for her and her family's future.
Thank you so much, Rakhi. I am Carolyn, and I also go by Carrie. And I am a mother of 3. Soon it will be 4. And I also have 7-year-old twins and a 6-year-old. And finding childcare for our children has been incredibly challenging now that they're able to attend school. My husband and I are both students, and our schedules have odd hours. Both the cost and accessibility to childcare have been barriers to our family and academic careers. And even though traditional 9-to-5 work schedules aren't as common anymore, childcare hasn't yet caught up, limiting our ability to only work in roles that align with those hours or rely heavily on family members for support. I have had multiple friends move away to be closer to family or move away from Alberta altogether because they couldn't find or afford childcare in their current situations. It's 2023 and parents shouldn't have to choose between raising their kids and advancing their careers. We need to modernize childcare to meet the needs of modern families. And having access to before and after school care with flexible hours would be such a game changer for us. It would help us to adequately consider our options. Not only does this open up career possibilities, but it gives us the time to volunteer and pursue other post-secondary routes or to give back to our communities. It would allow me to pursue my dreams, raise my kids, and build a life that works for us without breaking the bank or interrupting my career. Many parents I know are also concerned about the same things, and I know that the NDP government is planning to give better access to children and that will help us improve the current backlog. They have real solutions to real problems and are focused on the things that matter to me and my family. Yesterday, my husband and I voted in the advanced polls, and I encourage other parents to do the same. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carrie, and thanks for sharing your family story, and then so many stories from people you know and friends and family that you have as well. Many of my constituents, many of the Albertans that I've spoken to across this province have shared their same concerns about access and affordability and what a difference it would make to them to have access to quality, affordable childcare sooner. We're invested in building a better future that includes all Albertans, and our plans for childcare will bring us one step closer to making that a reality for families across this province. Thank you, and we're happy to take your questions.
I'll now open the line for questions. Please use your raise hand function. Please also state your name and outlet for us. Call, your line is open.
Yeah, I wonder if you could just explain to me in the costed, the fiscal platform that the NDP put out, I think it lists 192 million in the first year, then 390 million, and then 300 million, if I'm reading that right, in the third year from the province to accelerate the $10 a day care. Can you explain to me, like, why is that number going up? If you're planning to achieve an average of $10 per day by the end of 2024, why is that number going up in the out years?
So the numbers that you're seeing reflect both the commitment to accelerate the investment in $10 per day childcare and to have that done by the end of 2024, but also reflects an ongoing commitment to things such as including before and after school care, which we've outlined today. The before and after school care is not included in the federal funding. We know that the federal funding is limited to preschool age children, so any commitment to include before and after school care and affordability programming has to come from provincial investment. So that's why you'll see a continuing investment long term, because that will always be provincial funding that will go towards before and after school care. However, when it comes to accelerating the $10 per day program for childcare programs, we know that basically what we're saying is that we have to increase provincial investment to make up for the fact that federal funding, it does increase every year under the agreement. And so we're going to have to accelerate our provincial investment to match the federal funding that isn't going to be present until the final year. So essentially we're saying for $10 per day childcare acceleration, we're going to make up for the difference in federal funding by investing that from provincial dollars. And then long term, we are talking about things that will be the responsibility of the province going forward around before and after school care, around creating expanded programs for attracting and retaining educators, as well as capital investment in increased space creation. So there's some elements of that funding which are going to extend beyond the federal funding, and some that are just to make up for the federal funding that won't reach that level until 2026.
Gotcha, thanks. And I don't know if you have this, if you know this number off the top of your head, but just to compare it to the $25 a day pilot, how much did that cost annually?
So the $25 per day, and I'm testing my memory here a little bit, Lisa, so be patient with me, but I do believe the $25 per day program was roughly about $45 million per year for the close to about 7,500 childcare spaces, if I recall correctly. I'd have to go back and confirm my numbers. But of course, that was mostly federal funding under the multilateral agreements that were signed with all provinces back then. So at that time, of course, we had planned in 2019 to expand the $25 per day program to include all, not only nonprofits, but also for-profits as well as day home providers. So now what we've seen, of course, when we had the federal investment in 2021, is that a significant amount of the funding that will go towards lowering childcare fees in Alberta is coming from the federal government. And it's, I think, important to note that the UCP government was very happy to let the $25 per day program end abruptly and had absolutely no plans to expand it at all to include more parents. It operated for 2 years under a UCP government. They made no efforts to expand it, to include more providers, to include more parents. They simply were content to let it end, and they canceled that program. And it was only because the federal government came forward with federal funding that they finally, and reluctantly, and played political games and delayed it, that they signed on to that agreement. So, things would have been very different had the NDP been able to expand their pilot program for $25 per day childcare in the last 4 years. We would see thousands more parents included. We would see all providers included. Instead, we had to, Alberta families and Alberta providers had to wait until the federal government stepped up. And we're saying we've always been committed 100% to the principles and the value of affordable quality childcare for working parents, also for the economy. We know more parents being able to get out in the workforce is great for our economy, and of course is an important thing for the early start of children. We've always been committed to that, and we look forward to the opportunity to implementing it for all Alberta families.
All right, I'll open it for the next caller. Janet, your line's open.
Good morning, Janet French from the CBC. Sorry about the background newsroom noise. I just want to ask you about Jennifer Johnson in Lacombe-Panoka. She is the not UCP candidate. However, last night her constituency association board posted on Facebook that they've been inundated with questions about her candidacy, and that, quote, the candidate is still a UCP member in good standing, and there is the probability of her entering the UCP caucus in the near future. Then this morning, they tried to rescind the post, saying that a volunteer posted it and they don't know what they're talking about. I wonder what you make of this.
Well, I, as a parent of children, as well as, an Albertan, I was absolutely horrified by those comments made by Jennifer Johnson. These are not comments that were made lightheartedly or were taken out of context. They were deeply offensive to children. It dehumanized these young people. And I can't imagine the anguish that those children and parents who are supporting their children must be experiencing. But it's absolutely reprehensible comments. The fact that it is still unclear as to whether or not Jennifer Johnson gets to hold the UCP banner, and we know that Danielle Smith has already indicated that she's open to redemption and she's open to one day letting Jennifer Johnson back into the caucus. This goes to show that Danielle Smith hasn't learned anything from her Lake of Fire incident back in 2012. She's simply saying what she needs to say to try to put out a fire, but ultimately, I think we see time and time again that who Danielle Smith is associating with and what values she has welcomed into her party. We know that from her conversations with Artur Pawlowski, that she has certainly made time in her schedule and in her capacity as premier to talk to people and invite people in who holds deeply, deeply problematic and reprehensible views. And once again, it appears that this is just going to be, they're wallpapering over those comments in the hope that people will just forget about them until Election Day. But I can't see how this Ms. Johnson has done anything at this point in time to be worthy of public office, or anything that she's done to redeem herself, to show that she has learnt from her comments. It's only been like a week. So I'm truly struggling to understand how she could have redeemed herself and how she can continue to run under the UCP banner. And I'm certain it will be next to no time before Danielle Smith finds an excuse to let her back into caucus. Again, it goes back to the company that Danielle Smith keeps, the views that she allows to be, welcomed as well as highlighted within her candidates and the people that she talks to. should be deeply concerning. That is not; those are not acceptable views in Alberta, and I think many, many people are shocked to hear that this kind of a candidate could be back in the UCP caucus.
Back, new topic. You're not going to like this one. I want you to just pretend you don't care about Rachel Notley's feelings for a minute. Do you have any leadership aspirations for this party? And if so, why so? And if not, why not?
I am 100% focused on winning the election on May 29th. That has been the complete focus of myself, my colleagues, and Rachel Notley, is to talk to as many Albertans as possible. Over the last 4 years, we have been door knocking across this province and talking to Albertans and focused on the issues that they care about. And that is what my energy is 100% always been in and will continue to be in.
Lisa, is this an old hand or is this your hand again? All right, well, with that, thank you so much.